Welcome back to my Saturday devlog. Last week I had less updates. I focused more on my day job and this meant less updates for the game. Although I managed to finish the sprites. Code is not ready yet. That's something that I'm going to do after I finish this video. Hopefully by the end of the next week I do have some behavior for the critters. I don't expect them to be that complicated to write because they won't do anything that smart. They will just go around places and get squashed if you touch them accidentally. That's the only thing that I want to have them do. Maybe some other creatures would be able to also squash them and, you know, have the creatures hunt these critters and interact with them, so they're like a source of food for the local fauna. So that's pretty much what I intend with their AI. I don't know how long that will take, because I can reuse the code that I already have. And another thing that I want to do is change the first-person shooter controller. I got some tips from a friend of mine on Twitter and he helped me with an idea on how to make the camera controller better. And I also try to see how other games do that as well. Because the controller that I have doesn't feel right. It feels kind of bad. So it feels kind of gritty. I need to change that, and hopefully it will give a better sensitivity and a better sensation when you move your camera. Now I'm going to talk about the new FPS controller that I'm going to implement. I kind of have an idea how to do it, so I'm going to try to average the mouse positions every 5 frames or something like that. I think in theory it should work. I will experiment with it, see how that goes. And next week I'm going to actually talk about how it worked and if it worked. So I'm going to actually explain more about FPS controller that I'm going to implement. It's just a rough idea that I have on how it should work, but I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. Hopefully it's going to get into something which is super nice and useful, but I don't really know up until the point that I'm actually doing it. So yeah, in theory, by just averaging the last 5 mouse movements and applying that as the movement of the camera should work properly and should have like a smooth movement for the mouse. If I take the difference each frame, maybe I need something more complicated. I don't really know. But yeah, about the critters I would like to talk a little bit about. So while I was drawing them, I realized that, hey, I have 6 extra new creatures that I can sprinkle around the game world. Of course, I want the creatures to interact with these creatures, with these small creatures, because I want to see that the world presents itself as a living place, so that the player will interact with the world in such a way that it's a living place. Having played Half-Life, I realized that I don't want to have a game where you just run and shoot, and I actually want a game where you experiment with the world and see what happens if you interact with the objects. I don't expect the interactions to be that complicated. I don't want to I don't want to get into a survival genre, because that would be more complicated, and of course that would make me want to have a multiplayer game, and that's such a bigger scope that I already started with. I started with a small scope, then I realized, yeah, but I want a fun and engaging game which excites me, so I enlarged the scope a little bit, but making the scope even bigger than that, it's not feasible, and I would probably never end and never finish the game. Although Godot, as far as I know, has multiplayer logic, I don't want to get in that direction. Survival is fun, from my opinion at least. Survival is fun if you play together with your friends. Of course I would want to have a multiplayer games. I would really love to make a multiplayer game, but for now I'd rather stick with something which is simple. So I intend to have a few hours of gameplay and explore this strange world. And yeah, as I was saying, having these little creatures made me realize that some of them might not be present on the surface, and I might have underground areas and maybe a water area, maybe an extra dimensional area because it's a planet around a black hole. I'm still working in my mind with ideas. I do get new ideas each day, and I'm trying to trim out the ones which don't really fit. Honestly, I don't have that many gameplay ideas yet. I need to start doing level design and constructing the levels themselves to get into level design. But up until this point, I'm pretty confident that it's going to feel good enough. Yeah. I think I'm going to end up the video here. Enjoy the rest of the time lapse with the pixel art. If you enjoy this way of me documenting the development of this game, please leave a like, tell me in the comment section below what you would like to see or what you would like me to talk about. Tell me about the games you are working on, tell me about the games you are playing. Maybe that way I can get more ideas for my game, incorporate something which is more modern, which is something more fun. Currently I am super open, I'm researching a lot about game design because I realized it's something that I can have an impact on. If you watched up until this point, I'm super grateful and thank you for watching. Have a great weekend!